Okay,
Mhm.
there we go. We got
Mhm.
it. we okay. So off recording, you just dropped a bombshell, and if you want, you can start there and repeat because that was
Absolutely.
powerful.
Absolutely.
Yeah, go
I would
ahead.
love to just even share a little bit of my story from my mother.
Sure.
First of all, she tried to abort me. That was number one.
Mm,
She was a baby.
wow.
My mother was, she had her first baby at 14. And an older man,
Wow.
a whole nother, she had a similar experience as my own, which I didn't learn until way late in life. And
Wow.
then when when I became old enough, my mother just became very abusive, verbally, mentally, and physically abusive. But she was operating from her pain, which I didn't understand until I started operating from mine. And my dad was a workaholic. He was a very, very smart man. And he thought that as long as he was a good provider, that that was his job, you know. And so I did not get the kind of affection and attention that especially female children need from their dads. I got a lot of good information,
Mm,
but my dad had no clue how to give love and affection, you know. So I had to deal with that and the abuse of my mother, which he didn't even believe happened or didn't know happened until again latter years when I told him prior to his passing. And so when you don't get love from your dad, especially I think a female child, it creates a precedence for the relationships with men. And
yeah.
unfortunately, that wasn't too cool either.
Yeah.
I picked the broken ones, you know. But all things aside, the most powerful thing for me was learning that my dad didn't have the tools because he was never given the tools. He didn't really know his dad for the most part. And they were both ministers. Well, we're generations of ministers at this point. And my mother was just elusive and loose, and she was just out there, and she let her pain from being sexually assaulted defined her, just like I did for many years. And once I learned that our journeys had been very similar, I was able to forgive my mother. But I had been praying to do that. God, let me see what's good about my mother that I'm not seeing and allow us to become friends and make things better. Because at one point I told her I hated her. And God knows I loved that woman, but my heart had been so broken by her behavior that I couldn't tell her that. So now, in these days, when neither of them are in a body, the love and affection that I feel and the sense of forgiveness is very awesome. Unfortunately, the dust that they dropped during those times where I felt rejected, abandoned, neglected, and abused, it's still trying to play a role in my life, and I'm not having it. And I know you're going to help me not have it. So there it is, in a nutshell.
Yeah, I definitely am. I definitely am. I'm. So how do you handle it when you are when the dust has left you dusty and you're trying to be clean? How do
Yeah.
you handle that? And here's the crazy part, and I wish everyone would accept this. You're not
Mm-hmm.
supposed to be clean. I think we bought into other people's thoughts of that. We want to have a dust free life
Mm-hmm.
and then in order to be successful we must be dustless, but that's not the
Mm-hmm.
case.
Mm-hmm.
What makes us there are not tribes but civilizations in actually in China
Mm-hmm.
that every time something breaks, and this
Mm-hmm.
is true, this happens to this day, every time something breaks, every time a glass or a vase breaks, every single time something breaks, they glue it back together with
Mm-hmm.
with gold.
I love that.
They take the brokenness, they weld it with gold, and then they put it
Wow.
back together. And now the crack is still there, but it has gold in the crack. And no matter how many times it crack, they never throw it away. They fuse it back together with gold,
That's
and the
powerful.
gold ends up being the the gold ends up dominating the brokenness.
Mm-hmm.
But you can never get the gold without being broken. And that happens to this day, and current, present day universe, Earth, that happens today. And you can't have gold without being broken. You can't. You can't. You're so powerful because you've been so weak. That's the only way you're so powerful. It's the only way that every time you say something is so profound. It's because there was a time in your life when you weren't allowed to be profound. You just weren't. I would suggest that for me it was a bit easier. So I'll say these two things. It was much easier for me. It was easy for me in two aspects. For one, I was never raised, so I never had people. I never had people put bad things on. I never had people. Nobody put bad things on me. Nobody taught me anything. At 6, I was homeless. I didn't stop being unhomeless to 14. I aged out of CPS custody at 18. So I just basically never had anybody teach me rules. So I was never conformed and taught to conform. Also with that, I never was taught how not to forgive. You have to be taught how not to forgive. You have to literally be taught that. That's something that you have to, like someone teaches you not to forgive. And they say, girl, you shouldn't, don't take that because that's wrong. The truth is that, and this is the truth, this is the hard truth, and I'll let you respond. The hard truth of it all, and everyone's going to have to accept this, but it's so hard to accept. You don't need any work. You're perfect as is. If you need to do anything in your life, you just simply need to go back to when you were born. That's when you were the greatest form of you possible. You have connection to the creative source at its greatest. We've never had to grow up. We only simply need to remember who we are. You don't need work. You need to remember. Think about the word and remember. Again, and sort of membership. You are part of a creative source. And if you, again, get in alignment to it, you don't need no work.
Yeah. I'm in total agreement with your response, and I appreciate it. I think that the one thing that I'm going to start here, because the one thing that I believe is that there are no absolutes. There's only God, and so there's always room for God is the only absolute. And so there's or creator, or what divine source, whatever name one uses. But there's always this thing that happens often, or this thing that happens often. So I don't want to say always, but this thing that happens often, where we literally forget that we are divine beings and have to reconnect. As you said, the remember and the reconnect is the same thing. And I find myself, I can teach this stuff and somebody else can go off and be flying as a result of what I've taught, and then turn around and like, whoa, what happened? Why am I still right here, in this spot right here? And it is, I think, the universal way of keeping us connected to each other. Because if I don't have Antonio T. Smith Jr. as my coach, then I may not be reminded of my innate divinity and my ability to call upon it to create whatever I desire. And I write this stuff and I speak this stuff, but at the same time, I'm not always living this stuff. So I'm so appreciative of our universal and our spiritual and divine connection. And but I don't believe in absolutes. I don't believe that we have to always, or we can never. I do believe that we have the opportunity to adjust in any situation, and that we may, like, for example, what you may reach out and do in the same situation may be kind of opposite of what I may reach out and do, or we may resonate with each other and do the exact same thing, but still get the result that the divine is presenting to us. And so I'm happy for this, because it's so rare that I find like-minded people that can help me to grow. You know, so it's so rare. So I'm excited. You know, I'm so excited.
Well, let me tell you, you bring up a good point. You teach people, they go out and fly, and then you're still there. On the surface, it seems as if you know. That's what someone would tell you. That's what's happening. I'm gonna tell you exactly what's happening. It's not that you don't believe. If I go a little deeper, I would. If I was a rookie, I would tell you believe. You just don't believe for you, which would kind of be true. At the same time, I'm no rookie. Here's what actually is. There's a formula. See, when you tell people something, they catch it, and then they start being what you told them. There is a formula for being. Now, think about that. We are human beings. We are something that is on. Being is a participle. It means an ongoing action with no end in sight. If I am going to the store, it means I'm not where I was. I'm preaching now. I'm not where I was. I'm not where I started off at. I haven't got there yet, but I am continuously on my way. You understand? Okay, that's a participle. I'm where I started. I'm no longer there. I'm not all the way there, but I am my way continuously with no end in sight. Now, the reason I brought that up is because, and you say, you know, the absolutes, the truth is, truthfully, there is an absolute. Calls it heaven, quantum physics. I'm not sure. I said
God,
maybe superposition.
I said God.
God, all that. Great. And it's the truth. But in the world of absolute, you could never be. You never being, you can only be. Be and being are something completely different. In the world of absolute, only be. And that's not enough, because here's the formula. Knowing plus experience equals being. Procrastinators, and this is now, I'm now identifying your problem. It's not procrastination, but I'm just going to give you an example. Procrastinators, the reason they procrastinate, know everything. They know everything. They never move to the experiences of things. They just know it. And when you only know something, you never do it. You never move forward. You always know how it's not work. Ooh, Mari, don't try that. That's not gonna work. That's you know it all, not a do it all. So you must move from knowing to experience. Now, when you experience, and this is actually the problem that your mom had and that you had for a little bit, and all experience with no knowing. So you were tearing up your life with just the experience. You didn't have the knowing tell you don't experience everything. You don't want to experience everything. The only way that you can become a being is to have both knowledge and experience. And in whatever area you have knowledge and experience in, you will be a being, or you will being in abundance in that area. One more thing.
Ooh,
this is powerful. I want you to think about
okay. Go ahead.
No, it's good. It's good. Since you brought up God, we're gonna go with it. The knowing is the Father. It's in the absolute. He knows all. We say it. He knows all. The experience it's God's son. Right? Came down and
Mm-hmm.
experienced life for us. And because of that, we have our being, because the knowledge and experience and being. Now, according to the Nicene Creed, the Holy Spirit is the giver of life. And you only have life after you have knowledge and experience. Then you experience actual life.
Yeah,
you cannot live in the absolute world and be living.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So all in one. And the protagonist that is known as Jesus, you have all the knowledge, the experience, and the being. This is why he was able to call into existence whatever experience he wanted. Now I'm going right to the heart of your problem.
Mm-hmm.
Since he was all knowledge, all experience, and all being in one, he was able to say, fish, have a coin in your mouth so we can pay these taxes. Mm-hmm. He was able to say, water, be solid as I walk upon you. Mm-hmm. It is because he was not lacking in any knowledge, any experience, or any being. Mm-hmm. Now ask yourself, I'm going to turn around on you now. Now ask yourself, mm-hmm. where, if you teach them and they go, and then they go off and you're still there, where is the obvious place that you're missing? It's not being, because if you were being, you'd be flying too. It's mm-hmm. not knowledge, because you're telling them. What are you missing?
Your mic is kind of going in and out, but that was so powerful. Okay. Could you say it again? Whoa, where is the... Go ahead.
Yeah.
No, it went out again.
The switch while you're talking, you have to, okay.
Yeah, it's going in and out again.
Switched over.
Okay.
Okay, this should be better.
It's awesome. Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah, I didn't realize my laptop switched over to a weaker Wi-Fi. Okay. Knowledge plus experience equals being. And then I said, mm-hmm. God the Father was knowledge, God the Son was experience, Holy Spirit is the being. That's why the Holy Spirit is the giver of life. Mm-hmm. Now, in all that being said, mm-hmm. here's how this works. You clearly, you're not being because mm-hmm. you're not the one flying with the people you're teaching. They go fly. Mm-hmm. But you clearly have the knowledge to give them so they can start experiencing the being. Mm-hmm. So what's the one area in your life that you're missing?
The experience.
The experience. What mm-hmm. you're currently doing in your life, what you're currently doing in your life is you have the knowledge, mm-hmm. and then you reached a place in your life to where you said, you know what, let me just be cautious. Mm-hmm. Let me just, in a little bit, I'll jump into the experience of things.
Now, I wasn't being cautious. I was totally afraid. Let me just keep it real. I'm totally transparent here. I was totally afraid, period. Point blank.
Let me hear real. And that's what it is. You were totally afraid that fear left out the experience, so mm-hmm. you can never be the being mm-hmm. and get back into alignment with the creative power to mm-hmm. dominate your life. It is that simple. That is a universal equation. Knowledge plus experience equals being.
Oh, I love the way you do that. But let me just say this much because, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No. You go ahead.
Okay. So, no, it's not that I didn't go out to get the experience. It's that every time I went out to get the experience, it scared the out of me. Okay, wait. See, I had every time, I kid you not, every time I've gone out and sang or did a speech or did a whatever, did one of my poems, I got a standing ovation every time. Every time. And it scared the mess out of me. I would run back home and create illness and everything else. And because that little girl in me who had been abused, and even that young teenage woman and older woman who had gotten violently raped more than once, all those kept showing up saying, you're not worthy, you're not deserving, get out of here. And I kept letting that unconscious message take me back into my shell as that crab in that cocoon, as that butterfly, that caterpillar. I kept letting that happen. And so this time I said, God is going to give me whatever is necessary for me to jump out there and keep flying, keep it moving. And he gave me an Antonio T. Smith Jr. and a Tempest. I'm so happy. I'm so happy.
Well, think about it this way. You got the knowledge, and then here's what happened. At a very young age, when you were trusting, your experience, it raped you.
Yeah.
It literally raped you. Your experience raped you. It beat you up. And then you got older, and you said, you know what, I'm going to try this again. It raped you again, and it beat you. And you say, you know what? Okay, I'm in my 20s now. That's cool. Life can't be that bad. And then you went out there again, and then you went all experience, and you got with the wrong people, and they.
I got shot as a teen. Yeah, literally shot by a gun. Yeah.
Okay. All right. See. Okay. So you experiencing, and you got shot. You got shot. But every time you've done the most important part of the equation, you have been burnt for it.
Yep.
So what happens when you get older? You start. Well, actually, forget getting older. What you start doing is you start making a meaning out of all that. You start saying, well, everybody else can be great, but I'm not allowed to be great.
Unconscious.
It works for everybody. It just doesn't work for me. Oh, no, God exists. He just have a problem with me. And then if I do this, I'm going to get hurt some way. I don't know how. So it's safer for me not to do anything at all.
Especially after I almost drowned 3 times as a kid. See, I got a whole serious story. You have no idea. Go ahead, I got you. I love this.
Exactly. So now you know what's been missing from your life. It's been the experience. And it's not that it's been totally missing. Your interpretation, your response to all the other events that you experience, it diminished. No, it didn't diminish. It demolished any chance you had to fly with the people you teach, because you made experience a bad part of the process.
Wow, that's powerful.
Yep, that's what happened. Just listening to you, that's exactly what happened. Knowledge plus experience equals being. And most of us, when we experience, and listen, I don't care how saved you are, I don't care how strong you are, you take enough losses. If you take enough losses, that will teach you something.
Yes.
Yeah. You take enough losses, that'll change you. That really will. And you've taken more losses than human beings can take. Yeah, definitely. So we identified that problem. What else you got?
I love that. The way that spirit speaks through you, it reminds me so much of myself. And Grace says it all the time. So you and Antonio, I'm telling you, when I'm talking to you, sometimes I feel like I'm talking to him. But when that spirit is there, it's there. And I'm so blessed to know that what you have learned to articulate to others, and your heart, like my heart, just wants to help everybody be whole and just want to change the world for the better. It just makes it so much kinder and so much easier to unfold. I mean, right now I feel like I'm in a safe place, and it's okay for me to express what I'm thinking, what I'm feeling, what I'm experiencing, because somebody else is also going to get healed from our conversation. And I'm just loving it. I'm so loving it. With those 3 components, I'm not sure what you're calling them, but those 3 components of, I think, success, another book, those 3 components of success are so imperative to our success, you know, because I had done something similar, but nothing so specific to where I now identify the fact that the experiences from my history became more dominant than my knowledge, which they're not really. They're not really. And that's what, but I gave them that. I gave them authority over my knowledge.
That's right. That's right.
You know, I gave them authority, and that's not going to continue to happen. You know, I gave, yeah. My being, it's time. It's time. And I'm just so excited. I am so excited. I'm telling you, I want to shout. And I don't, my church doesn't even do that, but I feel like it. Yeah. Oh man, yeah, this is awesome. I definitely see that. I see it clearer than I've ever seen it, and I've been unfolding throughout this incarnation from day one, from the time the abortion didn't work. You know, it's just like, okay, you got a great job to do. And you know, some people want to speak to you about time and age, but if I am an eternal being, then there is no time or age. That's and wherever I start is where I start in this incarnation, and I can take it up later in the next. But in this one right now, I feel like a lot of people that are seasoned like myself in time, because I don't believe in age, but people who are seasoned in time like myself, they can understand now it doesn't matter that you're seasoned in time. That all that matters is that you say, I'm going to do it. You know, I'm going to start it, and I'm going to keep it moving this time, no matter what my history dictates. You know, no more will I let my history continue to dictate my present and my future. And that's where I am right now. Oh that's God, right. I got chills coming everywhere. Okay. Thank you, God.
No chills, because you brought up carnation, and I'm so about to go with it, because okay. I'm well versed over there too.
Oh, I'm sure. I doubt not.
There are many people there are many people who believe that there are cycles of life, 25,000 year cycles to be exact. And we live these lives over and over. And if we don't learn the lesson, we come back with the same personality, and we simply repeat the lesson over again. Now think about it as me, as you, and where you are. You clearly have learned the lesson of knowledge. This life, last life, and the 1,000 before. What you haven't done in either life is say, you know what? Let me just move forward and experience joy. Now, there's something there that I'm leading to. You have a couple of things going on here. One is called the law of opposites. In order for you to experience anything, you must first endure the opposite. And people don't like that. But that's not going to stop being true. It is a universal fact of this world. I'll give you some examples. In order for you to experience life, you must first experience death. Well, how did I experience death? Non-existence. And then in your mother's womb, actually, you experienced death a couple of times because they tried to abort you. You were still here. So you are stronger than everybody else. Yeah, this is everybody else. But think about it. In order to see for the first time, you must first endure not seeing at all. This is just that simple.
In order to know that you're seeing, yeah.
Yes, you can't, because you'll never be able. How would you ever know that you've ever seen if you've seen your whole life? This is just universal facts of this universe, that when you first opened your eyes, it means they had to be closed. It just means that. When you start walking, it was something you had to master, and a big deal to your parents, because you had to endure not walking before.
Well, see, mine was even extra because I was born crippled.
Well, see, there it is.
I wore braces until I was 2, and I unscrewed them when we were at a party at the age of 2 or 3. I unscrewed them, and I was in those 3-inch heels, but they were screws, and I've been loving them ever since. So yeah, I couldn't walk until I was almost 3. Mm-hmm.
In order to enjoy a hot shower, you must first be dirty. I could do this all day long. I am 5'7". I would never know that I'm 5'7" unless, if the whole world was 5'7", I would never experience being 5'7".
Mm-hmm.
If every house, every blade of grass, everything was 5'7", I would have no experience, no enjoyment of 5'7", none whatsoever. I have to experience things smaller than me, the opposite, and things taller than me, the opposite, in order to enjoy me. This is where I'm coming right to you now.
Mm-hmm.
Everything in your life up to this point has been here to serve you experiencing the burning desires of joy and prosperity that you have. You've interpreted these things.
Mm-hmm.
You said, oh, this is something I should retreat from, something I should fear and conform to. But it only came into your reality because you wanted a different reality. So there is a safe way that I can show you how a bad thing in your life is meant to serve you. If you know for sure you haven't planted any bad seeds, if you know that you have been praying or meditating, you have a burning desire like Napoleon Hill says, if you know this for sure, then anything bad in your life is simply the law of opposites saying, okay, come through this first because you're doing so well. As soon as you're through this, on the other side of this opposite will be your burning desire so you can experience it. You cannot experience anything if you have not first experienced the opposite. Now I'll let you chew on that and respond to that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Let me say it this way. There's a couple of things that in one of the modalities that I become certified in that really are profound to me as well. And I often, when I'm teaching something, I will start off with, do not eat from the tree of the knowledge of both good and evil, or in that day you will surely die. Well, they didn't die. So what actually did happen? Die as we understand die to be. And when they ate from that tree of the knowledge of both good and evil, they created a sense of polarity, a sense of opposites. And so in that, they began to experience the opposites. The truth is, things just, for me, things just are. And until we label them, they do not have any effect except for that effect that we believe them to be. And so for me, I have basically stopped believing in good and bad, good and or bad. I believe in the idea that if it feels heavy, then it's not something that I need to express or experience. If it feels light, it's my truth and I can move forward. And so because I'm no longer judging not is another one that I use. And because I'm no longer judging consciously anyway, I'm able to say, well, I can do this or go into that more so than I ever could before. And the more that I study and practice this, the more I'm doing this. That's why I'm here on this call with you, because this may not have happened 3 years ago. The evolution in consciousness is something that another book I'm working on. It's a slightly different title, but it's basically the same thing. And in awareness allows me to know that I know that I know. And that because I am, God is, and because God is, I am, and everything after that is what I create. I'm learning to accept all energies without judgment, and yet choose only those that will be applicable to what I desire going forward, and even better. Because I always say, how does it get even better than this? But I'm learning to live in the question as opposed to the judgment or the conclusion. And that is such a powerful teaching, and I've been teaching it as well. But at the same time, like in speaking with you, I studied and practiced the law of attraction, so I hear a lot of familiar things. And
Yeah.
by God's grace, I love the way that you assimilate them and teach them as well. So I am so grateful for our spiritual connection because it's just really powerful. That's all I can say right now.
No, sure. Well, first off, thank you very much. I'm grateful for the spiritual connection as well. I want to bring out three things that you said. Let's
Okay.
start from the beginning.
Okay.
And all of them would be in high five of you. High five. And I totally agree.
Okay.
You brought up the Garden of Eden, or what is called or commonly known as the Garden of Eden, and then what is also commonly known as original sin. This is about to be a statement of bold, epic proportions. So what I'll do is to soften the statement.
Okay.
I'll say many believe. Okay, I'll soften it by saying that.
Okay. Okay.
Many say that was the greatest disaster of mankind.
Not at all.
That they chose death. I know, not at all. Because I know you was gonna say that because I think I heard you teetering with it. The truth. Well, excuse me. Many would believe the truth is it's the greatest day of humankind ever. Because and what is called the Garden of Eden, that was another world of absolute. There was no experience. There was no being. There was no human being. There was a perfect creation that could not experience itself because the opposite did not exist. Therefore, the greatest day on what we would call planet Earth was when the opposite happened, because now we get to experience life. We get to have these conversations. There's no way on planet Earth or any universe in any timeline that I would have had a microphone and a laptop in the Garden of Eden. It would not have existed. There would be no need for such tools because everything that was needed would have been provided. That's the first thing you brought out, which is great conscious awareness of you. Now, of course, that punches people in the ribs who are dogmatic religious, but that's not what we are talking about right now. We're talking about what other people believe. Now, also, you brought up, which was just near and dear to my heart. It is just simply understanding that what you're almost there. There are no mistakes. There are not. We can do this. We can do it in physics. We can do it in religion. We can do it in philosophy. I give you either one. Religion. And we know that all things are created for good for them who love God and are called according to His purpose. Physics. There's entanglement. Everything is still connected since everything was born in one place. Even though it's being separated, since it was born in one place, it is still connected. Religion. Whatever you do unto the least of these, my brothers, you do also unto me. It doesn't matter that your life, religion, God can get you wherever you need to go, even if where you currently are is your fault. Philosophy, when the hurricane of life has blown you, you will find out that it put your feet right where they needed to be to get to the next level. Look, we can do this all day long. At the end of the day, Marjorie is exactly where she is supposed to be.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, not a nanosecond slower. And you are so powerful that you can create mountains out of nothing. But you're not so powerful that you caught God or the universe by surprise, and now all of a sudden you messed up their plan for your life. Not that powerful.
I hear you. And since God and I are one, the plan was already laid and made. Yes,
There it is. There
absolutely.
it is. And
Absolutely.
how can God create something that he cannot endure?
Yeah.
Mm.
And I kind of upset the apple cart a lot too in my teaching, as did my minister, the Reverend Dr. Johnny Coleman, who has made her transition to her
Yeah,
next experience,
people upset. I can
But,
assure you.
we understand that there's Father, Mother, God, and though man-made religion does not necessarily want to acknowledge the feminine aspect of spirituality, which really there's no gender either way. But often her teaching, she helped women to feel as strong and as powerful as the male aspect of the divine. And it helped me as a woman to be more empowered because, and even when I teach, I often say that. And even with people who are more traditional, I always say I give homage and respect to wherever you are in your journey. I don't necessarily believe in man-made religions. I get a lot of information from all things and all people, and I believe that that's more spiritual energy than it is anything else. And if spirit is divine, if spirit and energy are one, then it's always everywhere equally present. There is no separation. There's no exerted energy that says I'm more than you or you're more than me, because we're all one. And that's what's blessing me in this conversation. I just see the sister and brotherhood. It's just there.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's there. I love it.
And think about this here. We're definitely all one. But if I had to prove who was better, male or female, I would side with female. And let me tell you why. If I had to prove who was more important to this world, even though I'm not taking a side, but if I just had to play devil's advocate, it would have to be the. Let's go back to law of opposites. You can't experience anything until you get to the opposite. Now, this whole world there's a triad or a triune to this world plus a duality to it. You have your super conscious, subconscious, or God the Father, Son, Holy Spirit. You do that over and over. You got the threes there going on. And then you have the duality. Up, down, left, right, hot, cold, and then the greatest duality of all time, man, woman. Now, let's just take all religions that were dominated by male society and that man was born first. That's cool. But according to universal law, man couldn't even experience himself. Come on now, Marjorie. And to the woman.
Teach. Hello. You better know it.
You can't even be a man.
Yeah, okay.
Unless a woman exists.
Hear that, everybody. Hear that now. That's some deep stuff there. and the beauty of it is we all have the aspects of feminine and masculine. We all have those aspects, those energies. Which one we express is usually defined by our gender, basically. If we look at it that way. But spiritually, it's universal. So I love it. I mean, truth be told, the truth be told, we're one and we need each other. And wherever I may appear to be weak, my man might be strong, and vice versa. It's all good.
You better talk now. Exactly.
I love it.
I'm just saying, women, and you brought up, we need to be careful. I told a friend of mine, her name is Shannon Clark. She says the amazing mediocrity. I told her, and we were just talking in conversation, and of course people won't like this, but it's true. We say, oh, the government's corrupt. Man corrupted it. Supremacy corrupted it. Evil corrupted it. What else is corrupted? Finances, the banking system is corrupted. What else? Education, they've corrupted that. The presidency, they corrupted that. But
Mm-hmm.
the church, that's never been corrupted.
That's interesting.
Now, here we
Really? Really? Somebody believes that, huh? Okay, go ahead.
we somehow separate the church to another dimension or something
Right.
or in the church are people who don't exist in this reality. I get it. So church folk are some new folk that don't ever walk in church and go back into the corrupt places.
Right.
No. We need to be careful what we feed ourselves, because it's all been corrupted until you go back and remember who you are.
And I think I would even take it a step further in my personal perceptions, in that if I'm definitely abiding by what I believe to be true in, say, Christian scripture, for example, where it says, judge ye not, or by that same judgment ye shall be judged. So if I'm not judging what's going on, then I can call those things that be not as though they were, and they shall appear. So I can either keep giving energy to a supposed head of government to have some kind of power, or I can give energy and power to the God in me and exist above and beyond that. And so it gets boiled down to the power of choice. And if I'm not judging, if I'm not concluding, then I open up to the universe what else is possible here, and how does it get even better than this? As opposed to, oh, woe is me, they got an orange-haired man at the top of my country. It's going to this. I am learning more and more how to live in the question and not the conclusion or the judgment, more and more. And it's a process, but I love the idea that I can do that, because the divine in me is unlimited and in all of creation. And I'm learning also that even if I have an opinion about it, that I can just state ahead of time, this is a personal opinion. Does not mean that it's valid for anybody else, but this is my truth. And I do see a distinction between man-made religion and spiritual awareness, a deep distinction.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Man-made religion would teach you how to pray in the vibration of lack. It will teach you how to worship, but won't teach you how to be aware.
Exactly. I mean, I love it for where it had its place in my life, but I'm trying to teach people that God gives me to teach something different. And often I use the word divine because it does not necessarily depict a religion. It depicts something awesome and unstoppable and enormous and unlimited, as opposed to sometimes the other names or labels do kind of limit. And I try not to go there, but I do respect wherever anybody else is. I really do.
Absolutely. I mean, I got one more thing I want to say, and then we can conclude. But I'll come to this. I look at it's like Facebook, man-made religion. All of them are like Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
It's so big you can't ignore it. And since it's so big you can't ignore it, it has its place, it has its purpose, and you need good people in it.
Yes, I agree.
People in it.
Yes.
You absolutely do. Like you can't, you don't throw it away, and you're smart enough. Neither me or you. You don't condemn it.
Right.
You find good people in it. Some people that be aware as well, and you try to merge the two together. So yeah, I
absolutely.
Yeah, but that was just what you were saying. I was just agreeing with you.
Absolutely. I totally agree.
Now you said something. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, I just said it blesses me, I think, to be able to connect with all people from all walks of life. I've had some people who are atheists and agnostic to say, I love your teaching because I feel included. Because I'll say, maybe you call it your powerful self, your more powerful self, whatever you call that energy, that's what I'm addressing. It doesn't matter to me what name you use. What works for you is what works for me for you. I am definitely just trying to share the principle that I've as I've perceived it to be. And it just seems, it draws a lot of different people into the universe, in my universe, you know.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's good. And that's actually a perfect segue into the
Okay.
last thing you said, because you said it at the very beginning and it was so powerful that I wanted to hold it to the end. And I really wish everyone would get this here. And by everyone, I mean everyone.
Okay.
You said earlier, oh, well, I'm learning to accept all the energy that come in my life. And then I just choose which one serves me.
Yes.
You never said anything that was true and powerful in your life. That was it.
Yeah.
That was it.
Yeah.
The only way to master your life is to accept everything that comes into it without prejudice. The good and the bad, because they're both supposed to be there.
But even deep, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, I was saying even deeper, there is no good or bad. It just is. And it doesn't become that until we label it that. So yeah, I'm about to shout up in here. Okay.
There is no good or bad whatsoever, and I'm glad you said that, because now I know I can say that. There's no good or bad whatsoever. There is only energy. And when you're subconscious, then you interpret that energy being good or that energy being bad.
Amen.
There are two things on planet Earth that you can actually say exist. There's only two things without argument, that every theologian and every quantum physicist would agree that these two things exist. The creative source or creative energy or source energy or energy, whatever they want to call it. God, the same thing. And the opposite of that, which is
non-existent. It's not existent. It doesn't exist.
You had to get the opposite of creative energy, and it was fear. You had to get it. It wasn't bad. It was fear. Because in order to enjoy what is the highest of highest, you must get to the low of the lowest. And it's not the devil. It is fear. It is the fear that drives man crazy, hold man back, and doesn't let smart women like yourself experience, so you become a being. So what we all must do is accept everything that comes into our life. You do it every day. You accept the sun and the moon. You're not mad at the moon. When the sun is out, you're not angry at the moon. And when the moon is out in the night, you're not angry at the sun. You say, oh, since I'm not a farmer, I accept your energy. But since I don't have to worry about the tides or a harvest, your energy is not something I would choose to give energy to. I acknowledge your existence, Moon. I know you're important. I know you control the tides. I know you have everything to do with the sea. I know that we can't even have crops without your energy. In fact, we wouldn't even be able to see at night if you weren't reflecting the sun's energy so we can see. There would be no harvest. There would be no spring. There would be no seasons without you, Moon. But I don't care about that. I'm not a farmer. I'm a city dweller. So I ain't even thinking about this. That's how we ought to treat back the way we treat them.
Yeah, you know. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'm just in conclusion. The moon is always there, and it has all this enormous power. It has everything to do with our body weight and gravity, all sorts of stuff.
Yeah.
But we don't care. We're not mad at it. We just say, I accept you for where you are, but you are not what I need to concentrate on today.
And I hear this. I just hear this so powerfully. The scripture that says, God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of love, power, and of a sound mind. And if we have a sound mind, if we are loving ourselves first, then only then can we love even God and the rest of the universe. And the power is in that realization and application. Wow, I'm just getting so many chills right now.
Well,
wow.
It left me no choice but to put on my philosophy hat, which is my favorite.
Okay. I love it.
The opposite of God is not the devil. Let me tell you why. It's not evil.
I don't believe in the devil, so you don't have to tell me. No, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go. I don't.
No, you're good. You're good. But let me tell you why.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Because the God is perfect, the highest of highest. Whatever that you can think of, you can't think no more of, that is. So to say the opposite of that, you also say it is perfect as well. You say it is the worst of the worst of the worst. And whatever can get no worse than that is now God.
That's why I said it doesn't exist.
It can't exist.
It doesn't exist.
You can't say that. Let's just say devil, because you can't say the devil is so perfect, because he is put an agenda on him. It's one of the things Muslims got right is they don't assign gender to God. If he is so perfect, then wouldn't he be God? Which is why you cannot do that when you actually think about the problem. The opposite of God is fear. Period. And the only things that are destructive to mankind, man's dreams, man's burning desire, and ultimate purpose, and short-term goals, is the fear that he or she cannot pull it off. And if they do, they'll be judged for it.
That's been me. Yeah.
That's the last thing I have to say.
You put the icing on the cake, and that's a done deal. Let's eat. Thank you so much, Antonio. You are such a blessing. You really are.
Well, I'm sure we helped a lot of people and pissed a lot of people off too. I'm sure of that. That's for sure. That's how it works, because you can't help a lot of people if the opposite does not exist.
Exactly. Well, yeah. All good. All good. In my book.
Thank you, Marjorie. Thank you so much.
Thank you for being my blessing.
Okay, then. Thank you for being mine as well. Okay.
Talk to you later. Bye-bye.